Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. I am the enterprising Captain Foley.
And I am in need of refit, Commander Coggan. It's been a long day of filming. See? Quick wit. Now, guys, you were wondering, you were asking, Stuart, how
Yes.
do we think Discovery Season 2 treated the USS Enterprise 1701 Constitution class, the design, the interior, exterior, and its legacy within the show so far?
That's a lot to just kind of sum up.
Yep.
Interior, exterior, all right, and legacy, because really, it's been delegated to just a piece of trash by this point. Really, when we first see, I love the look on your face. When we first see it, it's damaged for some reason that we never hear an explanation for, and so much so that just life support is working. Even though clearly everything else is working, the inner chiller grills are lit up, the bizarre collectors are going, everything looks good. And then we get throwaway line of dialogue that it's so damaged that Captain Pike has to captain the Discovery for a while it gets repaired. So I don't know what happened to it, but yeah, it's been on a 5-year mission, missed out in the war, a whole bunch of cool stuff. So there's a lot to talk about.
I think for the most part, the fact that they did say she's a beauty, amazing ship, like people did call out how good the Enterprise was, which was needed. They were gentle, they were in there, that was important. There was referentialness given. But I want to make this clear. I don't think it made sense what they said about the Enterprise. And I broke down some of the dialogue, and can I explain why I don't think it makes sense? So, Pike was ordered by Starfleet to take over the Discovery. And he chose to give those orders in person out of respect for what happened to their previous officer. Great. They are very close to Earth, within 2 or 3 minutes of low warp. So really close. Absolutely on our doorstep. Okay, so that those two things work. But then they said, you're right, Enterprise is completely offline, except for life support. 203 crew on board still alive. Okay, so she hasn't got impulse power, warp power, engine power, warp core. So at what point did she get to this part of the solar system? Despite, yes, as you said, visually, we have everything still active, which the warp core is clearly still on. Doesn't quite make sense there. But then they explained what happened to the Enterprise beforehand. They said 6 hours ago, the signal, one of the red signals, was stabilized long enough to get fixed on its position. We were on our way to its coordinates when suddenly, boom, the Enterprise suffered multiple catastrophic system failures, and Starfleet sending a team to send to space to full diagnostics. So it was on its way to a location that it suffered massive system failures, but it was on its way from Earth, which means it was launched around the same time as the Discovery, roughly, when that was still there. But they got back from their 5-year mission. That's a coincidence. And not just that, they specifically said, the truth is we can't detect anything about the red pieces or engage them in any way. Every time we try to scan them, our computer went haywire. So they did scan the red things from across the galaxy. The systems went haywire. They returned to Earth first. Then they were launched again to find it. And then on their route 5 minutes away from Earth, they got knocked out. But everything was still on, and yet everything was also off. And then, knowing that was going to happen, Pike allowed for them to take charge, because he couldn't have got signal to Earth, because guess what, Earth was out of range. But their communication systems were still online, because they still could send a signal. But everything was offline. So I'm trying to weave it all back together, but do you understand how all the things they said don't quite connect?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, I didn't get I didn't hear the line of dialogue that explained that their systems went offline. Plus, their transporters work unless the Discovery was the one that transported them.
I think
over.
they did. Yeah.
When that line of dialogue, they just have life support came on. I was like, what? Where did that come from? Like, it flew in nice and beautifully, and
then stopped. You see the engines on. You see the impulse engines on. You see the bridge window on. Although, again, one bit of credit to them. In several of the CGI shots, the bridge window is not on. It's actually now its sort of translucent thing to not be a big window. So because in the original design, Scott Schneider did say that yes, there's a bridge piece which can go transparent to see through and look like a window, or be translucent and not, and look like the average Connie. So I'm glad they actually utilise that, because it's dumb. Or that might, some of the shots might be done after the fact. It's just like they made such an effort to explain that they tried to scan it and things went haywire, but they're so far away, but you couldn't track them down. But you did track one down, but then you went to track the one down, but then before you got to it, you went bad. But then, why did you think the Discovery, who's a less advanced, or a less strong ship, not necessarily less advanced, but a strong ship, couldn't go to that place? If you can't scan the red things before you go haywire, why would you be able to think you could go there and scan it and go haywire? What was the point then? If the things... But then what damaged... What stopped the Enterprise from running? If that wasn't even at the red things and went off, but they said they went haywire because they scanned it, so... But they scanned it from across the galaxy? Were they at Earth? Were they at the 5-year mission? Why did they come back? Why didn't he wait 5 minutes and get Discovery? Why are they also 5 seconds away from Earth?
I think the 5 seconds away from Earth thing is you're reading too much into how they filmed that. I think they're supposed to be a little bit further away. But anyway.
But no, you see the scene from the end of the first season. They say, go to warp. We get about 10 seconds, and they say, sir, emergency signal. Like, we see it in
10
linear
seconds,
time.
That's 10 seconds could have been a time gap. You don't know.
But Sarek is on the bridge. Why would he stand on the bridge and not move for 2 hours, waiting for them to get far enough away? Like, I understand.
He came back on the bridge.
Why?
I don't know. But anyway, I think that's a little bit of a hole in your logic.
If they weren't just right close to Earth, then how did the Enterprise... Why was the Enterprise in the flight path of Discovery on its way to Vulcan if its power's off? That's a bit of a coincidence if it managed to luckily be in the flight path. They didn't alter course, they just stopped. And because they had no power, remember, no power. Completely offline, that's a hell of a statement.
And we don't know they didn't alter course either, because they got an incoming distress call, which means they could have automatically headed towards it. So we don't know if they changed course necessarily. There's a lot of things that could have happened in that sequence. One of the biggest things I took out of this, though, about the Enterprise legacy was the fact that it was on its 5-year mission during this whole Klingon war and not called back because it would have taken too long to get back, because they were on the outskirts of Federation space doing their 5-year mission, which is to seek out new life forms and explore. Fine. Whatever. I kind of get that. But they're the Constitution-class ships. When the Federation was essentially losing this war, as they said, they almost lost the war. You need those ships. Sure, there's a line of dialogue from Burnham saying that they were holding the Enterprise, not only didn't call it back so it wouldn't get back in time, but also holding it as kind of like an ace card.
Instrument of last resort.
Sure, I get that. If there's 12 Constitution class out there, the Klingons take out all the other ships, and all of a sudden, guess what? There's 12 Constitution class. Boom, boom. We're going to take out one fleet, maybe. It just seemed kind of odd. But it should be worth noting that the same reason that the Sovereign class of the Enterprise wasn't in the Dominion War, it's the same.
I noticed that.
So I don't know. That kind of tarnishes the Enterprise's legacy a little bit. I think the fact that they didn't include it in major battles.
But it's nice though, because that was during the 5-year mission. So, why wouldn't the Enterprise? Why wouldn't Kirk mention? Oh yeah, it's amazing how in your first 5-year mission, Spock, there was a year you were doing a war. So it makes more sense to leave it alone because it did its thing, and if it's far enough out, that's a reason. Although I don't see how it's that far out. I mean, the war was over 1.5 years, if not 2 years. It doesn't take like 6 months to warp anywhere. Like the Enterprise isn't.
It does though. This is old warp scale, remember? And even signals back to Starfleet from the 5-year mission of Kirk took like weeks. Like they're out in the distant part of the. I got to look at a map and see where Talos is, because that's where he was 2 years ago.
That's true.
So I don't have an issue so much with that.
Which might be then the reason they don't use holograms, because there's no practical way of using holograms over that distance, and that would be. I never got a sense they're that far, because obviously they come back into. Think about though things like when they visit other stations and they do that test battle with the other 4 ships. They tell me they spent 3 months, 4 months warping back to Federation space just to do a war simulation. Like I never got the sense they were that far out they couldn't come back for missions. And obviously they're on the ROM in the neutral zone. That's not like 8 months out in deep space. So they're not out of. Like, they're just dedicated explorers. Like, you can't tell me that they're that far. The ROM neutral is that far from You know what I mean?
The Romulan neutral zone's a couple weeks away at top warp,
but
for
weeks,
sure.
but weeks I can buy. But in a war that took 2 years, I'm talking like it needs to be like 7, 6, 5 months, even a 2-month travel back. You just say come back. It's not too long. I mean, as soon as
the war didn't last 2 years, I'd say more like a year.
Well, no, because it was a year from season 1 took about a year, and they skipped 7 months, so it was within about 2 years. It was kind of I was over a year and a half to 2 years, and it was over a year.
I didn't get the fact. I didn't get the sense that it was 2 years. I know there was 6 months between the binary stars and when we see Tyler for the first time. So 6 months there.
That's true.
Then a couple months.
Yeah.
Probably until they went to the mirror universe, and then they came back. Yeah, 7 or was it 9 months or 7 months?
It was a lot of
ahead in time. Yeah, and so, all right, about a year and a half probably.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. The Enterprise had to be at least 6 months out to make that journey not worth it, because those things are very capable now. And if you also think, if they're a last resort item, you think they're powerful enough to do something. If you know they're going to take 6 months, you'd call them back straight away. It should sort of be the opposite. And if it's 7 months, we lost most of our fleet, you call them back. Now I'm assuming then, because the Enterprise is back, they did call it back 2 months ago, however long it was away, and it got back just as it was armisticing.
That was my
sense.
Assumption. That as the Federation was getting desperate and really losing the war at the end there, they called them back, and they were on their way and arrived after the armistice was signed. It's like, well, shit. Well, we're back now.
Because if they were that far away, then that would... But you would... You know what I mean? Like, if they're that useful, if the colonies are that useful, you wouldn't... Like, it seems weird. Oh, the Klingons aren't that big a threat. Just because they destroyed 23 ships back to the Binary Star, have the biggest fleet ever, have cloaking technology, and are defeating us at every battle, let's not call back our best ships. We'll wait for the last resort. It's like, you lost to the Europa flagship in a... Like, that's a flagship, you know? Yes, that's a fleet ship. So it was a reasonably solid reason in terms of the TOS-y reason, but it didn't quite work. And then it gets home totally fine, doesn't have a refit, war ends, and then right out the gate it gets so crippled the engineers don't know what's wrong with it, they take it back for a refit, or at least a full fix. That's real unlucky. It survives all those years, and then instantly has a massive problem that stops it from being at all useful, and it has to be towed back why did... So, because like I say, I very much assume that they're on Earth's doorstep, so they're sublighting the Enterprise. They're not warping it back, and then Discovery jumped back to the Enterprise to I'm assuming get his privilege, get his supplies and stuff. But I would have assumed it would have got taken back to Earth already because they were away for a little while. Because they mentioned the when you saw the galactic map, all those red things were really far away. So I'm assuming it would take a couple of days, if not a week, whatever, to warp to the location. Why wasn't the Enterprise already back at Earth space? I mean, kind of cool to see it in. I don't know.
If it doesn't have a warp and they have to take it back at sublight, and if you said if it's near Vulcan, even if they take it to Vulcan, well, it could take weeks to tow it.
Yeah, but you don't do that. You tow it at warp. I mean, you've got bigger ships that can do that. I mean.
Yeah, but you got to wait for them to come in, so you might as well start towing it before.
But how do the sublight ships get there first then? You send a bigger ship.
I have no idea.
You know what I mean? Like when you start breaking it down, like it doesn't make sense where it's there.
True.
If any ship got to it in time, they'd just send a bigger ship and then it'd be getting back faster. I don't know. Again, these are small things, but we'd focus on the little Enterprise elements, which are fine if you don't think about them, but the dialogue doesn't quite connect. I'm assuming that what broke the Enterprise, which is not explained, although it's sort of said to be the red things, but doesn't make much sense, but is a plot point.
Yeah, the whole breaking of the Enterprise confused me. I didn't know there was that line of dialogue, though. I'll have to go back and rewatch it again, because I didn't pick that up. I was explicitly listening for something like that. But so, yeah, I don't think, as I said, it was treated very well, really, in these episodes.
Not disrespectfully, just not meant to be the hero it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, exactly. Like I said, it's just kind of a hunk of junk floating in space right now. It's useless, basically. Yeah. That's where I started off by saying that. I'm sure by the end of the season, when they drop off Pike and Spock again, we're gonna get a nice beauty shot of it. Who knows?
Of it one step closer, yeah. Well, it was
And
nice.
hopefully it's in her space dock with straight struts and gleaming white and beautiful and all that. That'd be awesome.
Like an earlier version of the TMP dry dock, and then you like
Yeah.
an end shot very similar to that would be beautiful. And one of those nice things I did appreciate the referentialness is that Stamets says, I know a biologist on that ship. I've seen the specs. You have to take a lot to take her down." That was nice. It was like, yeah, she's more capable than us. It's like, yes, Stamets, they are. Connie's are really, really good.
Yeah, and got to be pointed out too. That's while he's looking at the schematic of all the Franz Joseph technical things, which state 430 personnel, 429 present. if you look at the thing in red, 429 present, meaning Spock's missing. But in the line of dialogue, you said that Burnham said 230 because that's the Cage's Enterprise's crew complement. So
yeah,
problems.
And it's funny because those displays are displays. Just change the numbers.
They don't notice those things though.
No. It's funny. You talk about I've seen the stats, but it's like stab it, turn around. The stats are wrong. Wouldn't that be great?
Those are future stats. You got a temporal reading there.
Oh, that's the new. Wouldn't that be funny if you turned around and said, "But Burnham, the stats say 400. I told you I was dead." Oh. Ignore that.
This is the proposed refit. The next. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong file. Swipe. There it is. That would have been good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the old version. Yeah. At least got rid of the spikes on the cells. All the facades. No, it's I'm interested to see because it suffered multiple catastrophic system failures. And they say it's too far gone to see what happened on the way to this thing. It's interesting. Takes a lot to
say the least.
Takes a lot to take out Connie. They said that, so what take out Connie? Maybe it was a Klingon spy, because that'd be kind of fun if it was still come back from the war. It took on some people in between. We know that Tyler was the first prototype of the procedure, but that was many months ago. It'd be kind of fun if there was more people, because you would assume he was a success from the context of. I mean, he didn't report back to Kronos, did he? As far as they're concerned, he was a success. So fun if they made more, and then one of those who didn't know the war was over, really damaged the Connie. Because I'm sure from the inside you could cripple it quite happily. But make sure to keep the lights on. The facades, the warp grills, the impulse engines, all of that needs to stay on with zero power. Funny. But I thought it was alright, considering what they could have done. And I'm glad, and we said, they can't win when it comes to seeing the inside. And they didn't show anything outside the teeny corridor. Phew. If they'd moved to the side, it would have been, oh look, it's a redress of the Discovery. Oh look, it's a redress of the Discovery. Like, no, it shouldn't be. Luckily, they kept it very minimal. Yeah. But they've built the bridge, and I'm excited to see what they do with the bridge. Which definitely tells you it will come back in its glory. Actually, the fact they've built the bridge means it will come back in some sort of epic way. Actually,
I think it's going to come in, swoop in, and save Discovery at some point.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm expecting. But yeah, I mean, there you go. We saw it in the first episode. There were some beautiful shots of it. There's some nice over the top of the saucer shots. Got to say the CGI in season 2 so far is a lot better. It's brighter. It's more external ship shots, which is great.
Yep.
So kudos to them for that. But hopefully she gets her just due, and I think she will be saving the day at some point in this season to kind of exemplify that she's the Enterprise that we all know and love and worship.
I mean, logically it would be, because if it comes in as a brand new refit, the most advanced technology, then it would be kind of cool. That would be brilliant, and it would be. I mean, it's not like disrespectful to Discovery herself to bring in the Enterprise. Like, yeah, you'd expect it to be better and stronger.
Anyway, guys, put your thoughts down below. What do you guys think about the Enterprise? How was it treated? What do you think caused the system malfunction? Let us know everything you think about the ship. Yes. And we look forward to reading those, of course.
And do try and give us the good and the bad, because you could, just say, but don't try and give us a reason. Say what you think and express yourself, because we're here to do a balanced review. We saw what we were given. They were referential enough, but at the same token, she was broken. So we'll see where she goes, and like I said, we're hopeful, certainly. But if you want to support this show, to do more Trek analysis, and like Stuart said, you might have missed lines that we caught and have read to you today. We do that all the time for our Discovery reviews. Support us on Patreon, the monthly donation service. It's a backbone of what we do here every single week, sometimes every single day, especially with Discovery now. So much to talk about. So A little bit of support each and every month goes a massively long way. Or a one-time donation at trekyards.com. Or you can buy some great Eagle Moss merchandise. No, seriously, you can buy ships. And we get a little bit of that, so please do. And our lives, we do them every single week. Join the community, join the chat, and give a little bit of money to get your question heard, said, and be part of the conversation there. But where else? How else can they support us, Stuart?
Well, the best way to do that is by clicking the like button and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss anything. Also, the notification icon tells you every time we upload, and like we do a lot of lives, we do a lot of good discussion topics now, so it's always good to join those and you know, throw in a super chat, get your voice heard, get your question answered, talk to us directly. We love interacting with you guys, and that's one of the best ways to do that. And of course, as always, the best way, the cheapest way is just to share the videos around, share our love for Star Trek with other people you might know that don't know about Trekyards. Yeah, click the links down below as well. We've got a Teespring store with lots of cool Trekyards merchandise. As we've also got the Eagle Moss. Go pick yourself up some ships and use the discount code. Lots of great ways to help us out. So just check the description down below. So anyway, until next time, I'm Captain Foley.
I am Connor Hanks. Bye, guys.
See you soon.